No matter how badly I wanted to work on the devices that looked like new, my luck was always fighting with me and dragged me back to the devices you see in front of you. And the machine we have today is from Dell, and it has only one job, which is to take electricity and produce an image on the screen. But unfortunately that's not what's happening, as you have seen. And the moment we opened it, we saw a clean device, well taken care of, with no dust inside. Then we removed the SIMWAY's battery to reset the system back to factory setting, and we removed the RAM to make sure there were no issues too, and we also removed the old LAN card you see in front of you. And after my friend who was working on the new device left and went away, we did a quick unboxing and got back to our ancient device without any delay. Then we went and grabbed the longest screwdriver in the shop, and we used it to remove the old heatsink you will ever see, and we were checking if it was still transferring the heat, but underneath it we found a thermal paste that looked like a concrete. After that we grabbed a tissue and cleaned the thermal paste. Then we removed the CPU to clean its socket on the motherboard, and we grabbed a bottle of thinner and sprayed the CPU socket on the motherboard. Then we grabbed the toothbrush to clean the pins very well. And if you want to know how to clean a CPU socket without bending or damaging the pins, you've got to have experience like me and brush your teeth every day, or they will get bent and you will be fixing them all the day. Then we brought the thinner and the toothbrush and we started cleaning the RAM slots really well. Then we took the two RAM sticks aside to clean them with an eraser, and the eraser rule here is to clean the copper pins from any dust or oxidation, and at the same time without scratching or damaging the RAM. Then my friend who was working on the new case, he felt that I was a bit upset because I was the one working on the old device, but after he come back he went out to get me a quick snack, but of course I didn't agree to that and I didn't take it. And the last thing we tested was the HDD, and we connected it to the Heron's boot CD, and the health was 100%, so we left it on the regenerator in case there were any bad sectors. And after we made sure the thinner had dried, we installed the CPU back in its place. Then we reinstalled the RAM again to test the case, and we connect the power cable and turned on the PC, but unfortunately nothing happened, like we didn't do anything at all. And here, before we remove the whole motherboard and take it to Uncle-Gad to blow it up as usual, we suspected the power supply might be the problem, so we started looking for power supply that would fit the case and we can install it normally in the old power supply place. And after we installed it, we connect the power cable, and finally it's working and started display an image on the screen. And with that we have good news and bad news. And the good news is that the problem is only the power supply and the rest of the PC is working. As for the bad news, we are going to Uncle-Gad while he is smoking, and then we took the decision into our hands with the power supply in the other one, and we went to Uncle-Gad and told him the power supply is dead. He replied and said, buy a new one my dear. So I said, what the hell you are doing here? So he got really happy, as can you see, and took the power supply so we could repair the PC. And then we unplugged the cables and removed the screws to see what's the problem. And as soon as we opened the power supply, we found a good amount of dust. So we took it outside the shop to blow it out. Then we come back and remove the rest of the screws. Then we made sure the 300 volt capacitor was discharged so Uncle-Gad wouldn't miss us. Then we flipped the board and found the power supply issue staring right at us, and it was saying, don't look for me too much, I'm right here and I'm not going anywhere and I have no fear. And instantly my beard stood up and I said I had enough. You don't know who Uncle-Gad is. And I went in with the soldering iron while it was hot and pulled it straight out from inside the power supply. Then I went and got new capacitors and installed them on the board so it can work again and be restored. And the only thing left is to test the power supply. So we connect the power cable and the power, and thank God it's working fine without any problems. Then we put the screws back in place, and right away we put the power supply back in the case, and we connect the power cable, and finally it's working and start displaying an image on the screen. And only a few small things were left, like cooling. So we got a thermal paste and apply a bit to the CPU and reinstalled the heatsink, and we had to make sure the SIMWAY's battery was working fine so the YouTube wouldn't get mad mad at us. Then we found the multimeter at the shop and we checked the battery and it was working perfectly fine and didn't need to be replaced. So we put it back on the board and I felt like I was forgetting something. Oh, the other RAM stick that we had removed at the beginning, we put it back and connect the power. Then we adjust the BIOS setting and everything looked clean and Windows starting with no problems on the screen. We also had to make sure there were no temperature issues. As for the sound and the internet, we played a song and there were no problems yet. And that's it. And we reached the end of the video and I hope you learned something useful. This was your brother Gad and see you in the next video.